Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty heated about this topic right now, so I'm trying to keep this not as a big ramble, but here we go. So, if you were on the internet a few weeks ago, you more than likely heard about the situation with OnlyFans planning to ban explicit content from their site starting in October, only to a couple days later redact that and go back to business as usual. Now, if you don't know what OnlyFans is, it's a website and company that was started back in 2016. Since then, it has garnered over 75 million registered users, with over a million of them being content creators. The site is an Instagram-like subscription-based service where users can go on and find a specific content creator they like and subscribe to their specific page. The site has been historically used by adult content creators, but OnlyFans usually never addresses this. If you go on their social media, you can see almost no reference to sex work or adult content at all. You would think that it's exclusively chefs and fitness models working on their platform. So a few weeks ago, in the middle of August, a screenshot started circling around on some really big news networks. Almost every news network on the internet covered this. The screenshot was supposedly a statement from OnlyFans stating in early October they would ban any explicit content from their site. Now, initially, a lot of the sex workers who work on OnlyFans thought that this might be fake because it just kind of seemed like an irreputable source. It was just a single screenshot of a statement that was apparently DM'd to someone at a news source. Plus, a lot of the sex workers on the site started messaging OnlyFans and messaging the official OnlyFans support site, asking for clarification if this was actually happening or not. To which there was a constant response of, no, this is not happening, please don't trust untrustworthy sources, and we would let our content creators know if anything like this was going to happen. So this had a lot of the sex workers on the site breathing a sigh of relief for a little while, until 2 days later when there was a mass email sent out to all of the content creators on OnlyFans, stating officially that beginning in October, OnlyFans would be barring any explicit content on their site. Now, OnlyFans is only such a successful business because most of their content creators are adult content creators. This would have greatly screwed over most of the people that use their platform to make money and most of the people that make them money. So why did they do this? Well, their claim is the banks. And that was pretty much their big excuse, was they were concerned about continued relationships with banks moving forward. Their official statement said, in order to ensure the long-term sustainability of our platform and continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans, we must evolve our content guidelines. I find the use of the word inclusive there interesting because literally what they're doing is excluding a huge group of people from their site. Now, they don't expressly state this, but what they're referring to is the big Pornhub purge of 2020. Last year, MasterCard, Visa, and Discover pulled all ties with Pornhub because of a news article that came out explaining just how much child and involuntary pornography was actually being hosted on the site. Now, Pornhub responded to this by implementing a verification process and then purging all videos from the site that were not created or posted by verified partners to Pornhub. Now, I'm not sure if since then Pornhub has managed to reestablish relationships with MasterCard, Visa, and Discover, but this was the main thing that OnlyFans seemed to be concerned about when thinking about this ban. And specifically, they started to talk about later the MasterCard changes in their policies. In April, MasterCard did change its policies when talking about sites that host adult content. Essentially, they require a very strict verification process. MasterCard implemented the policy to ensure that they are not working with anyone who is hosting or posting or creating illegal content. The banks that connect merchants to our network will need to certify that the seller of adult content has effective controls in place to monitor, block, and where necessary, take down all illegal content. They also have a list of some very specific things that they require from sites in order to continue to use MasterCard while also hosting adult content. Documented age and identity verification for all people depicted and those uploading the content. Content review process prior to publication. complaint resolution process that addresses illegal or non-consensual content within 7 business days. And finally, appeals process allowing for any person depicted to request their content be removed. This doesn't sound too crazy to me. I mean, that sounds pretty reasonable, is you need consent, and they really just don't want illegal or involuntary content on any adult site. Which I would imagine, no one would. OnlyFans already has a verification process. They also claim to monitor all of the content on their site and require consent from every person that is presented in an adult fashion. So OnlyFans citing this as their reason for the ban makes little to no sense at all. And MasterCard even came out a few days after their announcement stating that they had nothing to do with this. They haven't changed their policies since April, which was a whole 4 months before OnlyFans made this statement. So there were kind of two sides to things that were popping up. There was the OnlyFans sex workers and other sex workers who support them saying, hey, this really sucks. Like, this is not okay, and some people might be losing their job. The other group of people popping up were people who clearly have no knowledge about sex work and are just dicks on the internet for no reason. Because of this second group of people, a series of memes started popping up that were not particularly creative or funny, but I do want to address them because they make me sick and I want to rant about them. The general format of the meme is this. I've seen other ones similar to this. Essentially, what these memes are saying is, haha, this person might lose their job and their well-being is at risk, but I'm laughing at them because I'm jealous that they have the self-confidence to do this and nobody wants to pay to see my tiny penis. There are 3 major points I want to make about these. And I know they are just memes, but they do really, really piss me off. The first one is that they tend to imply that sex work isn't work. Some of the memes are portrayals of the women basically being upset that they will now have to work again, which is directly stating that sex work on the internet isn't work, which is mind-blowing to me because it's an insane amount of work. There's the actual making of content, which must take hours to actually produce. There's the dealing with constant a-holes who are saying things like these people who make the memes, but directly to your face. There's the actual marketing side of the thing, getting yourself out there and actually bringing people to your platform. And there's a lot more work that goes into it than even just that. Sex work is still work. The second and most laughable thing about these memes is actually the fact that they believe that OnlyFans is the only place for sex work on the internet. There are endless numbers of sites that people can go to do this. OnlyFans just happens to be the most reputable. They're not actually reputable, they're just recognizable. So the fans of specific creators trust when they enter their credit card information into OnlyFans versus some of the less known sites. They seem to think that because OnlyFans was banning explicit content, that sex work on the internet was just over. And finally, and most disgustingly, they seem to only address women. They don't tend to think about the fact that men are on OnlyFans, but they always have them portrayed in these memes as working at McDonald's or Burger King or some entry-level job, which already is a viable work option. I don't know why they're also randomly insulting McDonald's employees when the people making these memes probably eat at McDonald's all the time. But also they just seem to think that these women are uneducated when there are actually countless numbers of stories of people with very high level jobs, nurses, doctors, teachers, leaving those jobs to do OnlyFans because they actually make more money. And these memes are just so degrading and misogynistic, and it makes me absolutely sick to look at them. But back to the sex workers who were responding to OnlyFans after this whole ordeal. A lot of them were outraged for a moment and started to say things like, hey, like, I could lose my livelihood here. Like, this is really going to affect me. Obviously, OnlyFans didn't care about that, but very quickly, people tended to move on. A lot of the sex workers who worked on OnlyFans moved on to specifically a site called Fansly, which seems like a really cool site. A lot of people are flocking there and leaving OnlyFans, and a lot of people are moving to other sites as well. Some people even making their own. Specifically, the rapper Tyga, who had made an OnlyFans a couple years ago and was, I think, number 3 or 4 in the top earners on OnlyFans, almost immediately left the site and started his own site called MyStar that's going to launch in October. So OnlyFans was really concerned with the banks and that whole situation, but in the end, they ended up losing an absolute ton of creators. I've seen countless number of people on Reddit and on Twitter saying, hey, I left OnlyFans, I'm now on this site. So because of this, OnlyFans came out, I think it was probably 2 or 3 days, maybe a full week, after their official statement saying, yes, we will be banning explicit content. And this new statement said, never mind, we've secured enough assurances that we are going to continue hosting explicit content. However, they used one specific word in their statement that had everyone not so reassured. On their statement, they say, we have suspended our ban on explicit content. The use of the word suspend just seems to imply that it's not happening now, but it will sometime down the road. It just seems to me that OnlyFans had finally decided, hey, we've made enough money off of sex workers, we don't really need them anymore, right? And then the moment that they came up with an excuse and said it, all of a sudden they realized they were going to lose a lot more money than they were ever going to make with only their cooking shows and their weird TV programs that they've announced. And finally, I am most interested in what's going to happen in the near future. I think 2 major things are most likely going to happen. The number one thing is I think there's going to start to be some discourse in the sex work community between people who stick with OnlyFans and those who have left. I think a lot of people are going to stay with OnlyFans because it's convenient, they already have a follower base, but it does come with this added pressure of you are deciding to continue using and supporting the site that decided to screw over almost all of the sex workers on their platform. And the other group of people will be people who have left OnlyFans, who I'm concerned will start to judge and ridicule the people who stay with OnlyFans because they're upset that these people continue to support them. The other thing that I suspect will happen soon is that OnlyFans will go through with the ban. I don't think they'll do it anytime soon. I think they're revving up to announce more things out there that will make them more money. They've clearly shown themselves willing to do this already, and I think it's just a matter of time before they decide, hey, we're making enough money off of these things, and we've already made enough money that even if what happened last time happens again, where we lose all of the sex workers, I think we'll be fine as a company. So I'm very interested to see what happens in the future, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned some stuff about it, and have a great day.